Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Alex on Politics, and today I've got something special for you guys. We're going to be ranking some Reform UK memes. Now, as we all know, Reform UK are the most memeable political party in Britain right now, considering just how idiotic most of their policies are and how radical they are as well. And today we're going to be reacting to some of the best memes that I found in my TikTok comment section, and it's going to be quite fun because we're all going to have a laugh. Of course, guys, make sure to like and subscribe if you are new here and enjoy this content. And follow my TikTok as well. We're nearly at 2,500 followers there and 300 subscribers here. And that would be greatly appreciated and help me make more amazing content like the stuff we're going to see today. Without further ado, let's get into this video. And I'm first going to run through all of the categories that we have in this ranking, stretching from all the way at the bottom, which is politicians would be bored. A nice play on words here because most politicians are boring. And these are for the absolute worst of the worst memes that are either the same as we've seen 500 million times or are just pretty shit memes. Above that is Farage funny, because we know he's not very funny, even though he tries to be. Above that is meh, which is just, you know, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just is what it is. We've then got jokes, which is the decent ones, and then right at the top, the pinnacle, the very, very best is even Lee would laugh, in reference to Lee Anderson, who is a miserable, miserable politician and person, and obviously a Reform MP. But we'll start off, and the first one we have is Farageism is a mental illness. Get off the TV, or turn off the TV and get help. Very, very creative here. I don't know whether this sign is actually a thing. May well be. That would be quite funny if someone put it up on their gate. But I don't think it's very, very good meme. But I think I'll put it in the Farage funny category to start things off, because I don't think it's that good. The next one we have is refill my bank account, one of my personal favourites, because as we know, Farage pretty much wants you to buy all of his merch, like for instance the Reform UK shirts, the overpriced Reform UK memberships, just so he can have a bit more money. And bearing in mind, this guy already makes £2 million a year from his other jobs. And I also like the graphic of Nigel Farage, and somehow even uglier. Now that's got to be a good one. I think it's going to have to go in jokes, because we all know that Farage just demands money from his supporters. The next one is a pretty simple one, just, you know, Reformatives, which I actually think is a great name. In terms of a meme itself, it's not really a meme, it's literally what's happening right now. But I don't think it's that great. I think I'll put it in politicians to be bored for now. The next one is Conservatives Are Us. I mean, it's quite funny, to be fair. Obviously, as we know, that most people on the right wing are children in this country. So a lovely little play on words there. Conservatives are us. I mean, Reform do like to go shopping there if you look at most of their defects. But I think this has to go in jokes as well. Hero of the stupid. Is there much more to say to that? He is pretty much the hero of the stupid. This is probably meh. I quite like the fact that it's a bit like a film show, in the sense that it's like a Netflix documentary, Hero of the Stupid, which is what I would probably call it if I did one on them. Next up, we've got Reform with a dunce cap, taking us back to the early 1900s, which is what Reform wants to do with some of its policies. And yeah, I think we'll go meh with Hero of the Stupid, because it's along the same lines that people with the dunce hat were stupid. And people with voting Reform on the ballot are also stupid. Next one is Rebrand UK. Now, this is quite interesting. I quite like this meme of the Tories and Conservatives, because I think they've given it a nice twist. Rebrand UK sounds like the name of the next fascistic party in the UK. Of course, obviously we have Reform UK, we have Advance UK, we've got Restore Britain, Restore UK. And I think Rebrand UK is definitely a better name than Tory Reform, seeing as it actually makes sense. The Shush Kids, Dad's been out all day protecting our women and girls. Don't make him angry again. And it's got a lovely picture of a fat, bald man drinking beer with his kids under the table, which is a great example of some of the people who have been advocating for people to go out and protest on the streets against people who they claim are committing violence to women and children, when a lot of them are literally committing it at home themselves. Some of the names I'm not actually allowed to say here because they are that bad, but they are the people that are influencing you. But that is a really creative meme, in my opinion. So that's going to go in jokes as well, I think. The next one is just a picture of Lee Anderson supporting Jeremy Corbyn, which is going at the top because that is jokes. He has gone from supporting Jeremy Corbyn to Reform UK. Unbelievable. The next one is only Reform will take on the establishment by employing one Tory at a time. Now that has got to be in jokes as well, I can't lie to you. Taking on the establishment by hiring the establishment, not a technique I've seen used before, and not a technique that I think actually is possible to work, but they're trying it because, as we know, Farage is the hero of the stupid. Next one we have is Suella Braverman stepping on a dog's tail, showing how much of an animal lover she really is. Maybe she thinks that animals getting hurt is their lifestyle choice as well. But that is quite funny, but I think we'll put it at Farage funny. No, we'll put it at meh. Sorry, we can't disrespect the fact that she is stepping on a dog's tail. This is a great meme. Farage tweeting that he will leave the country if Brexit fails, and then he says that Brexit has failed. If you didn't think Farage does U-turns, here you go. He will never say that it was his fault that Brexit failed or that Brexit was never going to work, but he still says that it has failed. Now that's probably going to go in meh for me, but quite high up in meh, because as we've seen, Farage is literally an idiot. This one is a great poster. Farage needs you to buy his bullshit, and a lot of people are buying his bullshit. Pretty much a World War II-esque photo. I can't believe we've gone from telling people to fight for our country to telling people to fight for racists these days. So I reckon that's going to go up. That's going to, for the creativity, I reckon we put that second in jokes, because it's I'm sure a lot of reformers would think that this is an actual World War III poster. Considering most of their education levels. Failures rebranded is the next one, another Tory and Reform meme. This once again is much more creative than the two logos that we keep seeing. I think I'm going to put it in Farage funny as well, just a bit funny. The politicians would be bored. Failures rebranded sounds like a really, really bad spin-off of Suits. Oh, this is a Keir Starmer parody account on Twitter tweeting Nigel Farage, and then same shit, different bus. Now, the accuracy on this is incredible. Farage puts the same shit on every bus, and then claims that the shit he was putting on that bus he wasn't actually putting on that bus, and that he can't actually do it because when he put it on the bus he thought he could do it, but then he couldn't decide to do it because of certain so-and-so, which he already knew was going to happen. If that made any sense, that's Farage for you. It's going to go in meh, but it is Brexit, and Farage caused Brexit, destroyed our country, and he is completely at fault. This one is quite funny. This is the Conservative Party toilet dripping all of its shit into a Reform UK sewer. We know that Reform UK is a sewer for washed up Tories and the worst of the worst. So this is pretty accurate. I mean, I would piss into that toilet because I would probably piss on Reform. But yeah, and yet another creative one. That is more funny than the other ones, I think. Oh, this one is once again another World War II-esque poster saying, "Are you a failed Tory? Have you ever been investigated for tax evasion, sexual assault, foreign collusion, rape or battery? Then Reform UK needs you." Of course, we know Reform UK does need those people because it is the only people that they can seem to employ. Throw in also taking Russian bribes as well as just making up the worst policies known to man. That is quite funny. I think we're going to put it next to the other Reform needs you one because these are genuinely really creative, and I genuinely think that people would buy this bullshit. Like, people would think that is a great poster, an advert for Reform. Don't ask me why. This is the UK and the British people we're talking about. But I can see it being genuinely something they would believe. Next one is Farage selling some snake oil, because as we know, he snakes us all out to foreign countries. Like America right now is his country of choice. Before it was Russia. Even though America pretty much hates us at this point and doesn't want to do much business with us at all, yet he's still snaking us off to them behind the scenes and trying to make us look as bad as possible in every international event that he goes to. So for the accuracy, I'm going to put it at the end of jokes because people would still buy that snake oil if he sold it. The next one's obviously the meme to, "Now I'm panicking, I'm going to lose my job." He should be panicking because of the shit he's going to cause if he wins an election, but because obviously this is a culturally amazing British meme. This defined British culture for a long period of time and still does define British culture. It's going to go at the top of Farage funny. The next one is a crossover. This is crazy. A crossover between Jimmy Savile and Nigel Farage. I'm not saying they're the same person. Someone else clearly seems to think so. For the sheer boldness to make this image and post it online, it's going to have to go at the top of jokes. Farage, Jimmy Farage, Farage Savile, you name it. That is absolutely insane. I cannot believe someone has genuinely sat there and made that. That is amazing. This is Lee Anderson calling people wacky racists, which is something that he himself should talk to a mirror about. And also it's got a picture of a Neanderthal, if you know, you know, because he is pretty much the furthest thing from a civilized human being. I'll put that up in jokes as well, because that is doesn't actually look much unlike him, showing his resemblance to a caveman. Putin walking Farage as his dog. Putin obviously being Farage's favourite leader. That's going to go meh, because I think we've seen, it's a bit old news now. We all know that Farage really likes Putin and Russia and would probably want to side with them more than the EU for no apparent reason. Maybe because he's getting money on the side from Russia, but obviously we know that's true. Next is traitor with a Russian flag. He is a traitor. He's a traitor to this country, not necessarily just for Russia, but for everything else that he's caused for us. This is quite a funny one. Recycle your Tories here. Imagine if they actually released this in recycling plants outside of Reform UK headquarters. That would be jokes. They just had a queue of Tories behind, just waiting to be recycled into Reform. They go through like Superman in a revolving door, and they come out with like a fucking light blue t-shirt on with a Reform football shirt. But this is quite funny. Reform do recycle Tories at the end of the day. I'll put it at the top of Farage funny because I feel like people genuinely would want to recycle their Tories. Jesus, what? Iranian Supreme Leader has joined Reform. Mate, we're getting the news over here as well. I didn't know this. Everyone's joining Reform now. Even foreign leaders are joining Reform. Wow, the blue tsunami is insane, guys. This is a crazy meme. The Iranian Supreme Leader has joined Reform. I mean, with the amount of defections they do, this wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But I think that's going to have to go next to the Jimmy Savile one, just for the sheer boldness of posting that online. Farage's policy statement: promise everything, deliver nothing, blame someone else, trouser as much as possible. Reform UK, a limited company for people with limited intelligence. And I fully agree. If only this was like posted on massive billboards across the country, people would start to understand exactly what we've been trying to say for ages. I'll put this in meh. Once again, it's not really funny. It's pretty much just telling us the truth. The next one is quite funny. It's a man giving Farage a brain and him saying, "No, I don't want your brain. I vote Reform." Mainly because it goes without saying, but yeah, brains and Reform supporters, I'm a bit wary when they actually combine. But I will put this in even Lee would laugh, because I feel like he would probably find that funny, considering his limited intelligence as well. Another Brexit meme, this time Farage saying, I know, I can't believe it. First Brexit, and now the twats want to vote for me again. Just an accurate statement, really. It's not necessarily funny. But something else that also should be put on some billboards. Russia needs you to vote Reform UK. Yes, they do. Russia would very much like you if you voted Reform UK. And Putin himself has actually told me, I'm actually getting a call from him right now saying he made this poster. This is a real KGB branded Russian poster, which is telling us to vote for Reform UK. I mean, come on guys, you need to make it less obvious here. I think that's going to have to go in jokes. Thick and proud of it. Even Lee would laugh. I mean, Lee is thick and proud of it, so not much you can say there. And that is it. Wow, okay. Looks like I had less than I thought I had. 43 Reform UK memes, all ranked. Let me know if you would rank these any differently. And let me know if you liked these rankings at all. Some of them are genuinely quite funny. Others are just pretty much the same thing with Reform and the Tories. This is probably my favourite one. No thanks, I vote Reform. The amount of people that I've debated and spoken to that are voting Reform and sound like they would be refusing a brain if I gave it to them is genuinely concerning. And I think it is very funny, especially the Lee Anderson one as well, with him voting for Jeremy Corbyn, then moving all the way over to the other side of the spectrum to vote for quite a hard right party. But of course, guys, let me know what you think of my tier list here. The most we had was in jokes. Obviously, I wanted to keep even Lee would laugh to a minimum amount of photos just for the absolute funny ones. But let me know if you would change anything at all. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe, follow the TikTok. We're nearly at 2,500 followers there, 300 subscribers here, and I will keep posting. That will tell me to keep posting more of this amazing content. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.